Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And these were the end time signs that Yahawashi, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, told his disciples to look for, to know that his second coming was nigh, and that the end of, the age of the Gentiles, the heathen Gentiles, was at hand. And, those things didn't happen, thousands of years ago when Yahawashi was first on the scene, but we are currently living in these times, the last days, the last seconds of the last days, where these things are either in the process of taking place or taking place as we speak. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes, such as what took place over in I believe it was Myanmar, last week, and also affected Thailand in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And, like I just said, all these things are either in the process of taking place or taking place as we speak. But as it said in verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. We're just in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. And it's only going to intensify more and more from here on out. And in this video, I'll be dealing with the ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, which, what are we hearing about? This current situation with Iran and the United States of America, with Iran saying they're ready for retaliatory strikes, while the U.S. is moving, those stealth bombers to Diego Garcia air base. You've got the war in Ukraine taking place, rumors of war between China and Taiwan, etc., etc. Which brings me to this clip on Yoram, Yah's servant of Yahawashi's Instagram page, just going into these rumors of wars. And as we'll see, these different nations are getting geared up for something major. And what they're ultimately getting geared up for is the third woe, World War III, which is a part of biblical prophecy. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe or destruction is past, speaking of World War I, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, World War II and World War III, which is quickly coming upon us. And, for all intents and purposes, you can say we're in the beginning stages thereof. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Well, I hope you guys been paying attention. Here goes my big warning video. We have Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, urging their citizens to prepare for war, cyber attacks, and extreme weather. There's also countries like Albania, all the way over to the United Kingdom, also France, and the Nordic countries as well, also warning their citizens to get ready for war. They are encouraging them to stockpile at least 72 hours of emergency kits, and even encouraging citizens to convert basements into bunkers. They are recommending basic emergency supplies such as bottled water, canned food, torches, batteries, first aid kits, and echoing Cold War era civil defense strategies, getting civilians ready for war. We also have Putin getting ready to call up 160,000 Russians for conscription as the world is getting worried about a world war. We have Poland reporting that they're considering bringing back the military conscription amid a threat of war with Russia. They also said they were going to introduce military training for every adult male We have Denmark saying they're going to draft women into the military by 2026 amid growing Russian threat. And this was supposed to take place down the line. They sped up this operation. Ain't that a coincidence? We have Germany saying that they're getting ready for conscription return amid Russia's growing threats. So a lot of these countries are getting ready for something big. Like, they're really getting their citizens ready for war, and they're talking about drafting them up too. No.
And you got to ask yourself, over here in the United States of America, why isn't your government, preparing you for things to come? Because you Americans are going to be the sheep for the slaughter.
United States, we're not out of the touch either, because once we go to war with Iran, then y'all already know some of us might be drafted up too. I don't know if it's going to go that far, but it is possible. They're talking about war with Russia. A war with Iran will be big too, and of course, don't forget about the war with China, which they just said they will protect Taiwan from. So that's another area that's been brewing up as well, and this report came out today. There's a lot going on, and yeah, they keep saying stock up for 3 days, but I'd advise you to stock up for at least a couple months worth, or at most a couple years, because we don't know how bad this is going to get. Of course, they're going to tell people to stock up lower so they can keep shit on shelves for everybody else. But at the same time, once people get a note of what's going on, those shelves are going to be empty and everybody's going to be out there buying shit. So get stuff while you can and be smart. Anyways, more news next.
Wars and rumors of wars, and it's going to get very bad. Remember Matthew 24 verse 8, and all these are the beginning of sorrows. And these other nations are going to hold a draft, and best believe the United States of America is going to hold a draft as well. Since Donald Trump was selected to be president, he's been signing executive order after executive order. Some, we know about, some we don't know about. And, best believe when that war starts, hey, you Americans are going to get shipped to the front lines, especially you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true children of Israel. Trump's government is already, on our ass. Look at what he's doing with the Northern Kingdom right now, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And best believe it's going to trickle down to you Southern Kingdom too. But let's get back to these prophecies. This is 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 16. I'm going to read verses 33 to 34. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Many women out here, alone and destitute and afraid due to a lack of men. And why is that? In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hey, men getting drafted to go fight in World War III. And not just world wars, but men getting killed out here in these race wars, these civil wars, and what? Also perishing of famines, pestilences, and those other calamities, we read about in Matthew chapter 24. This is Isaiah chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 16 and jump around a bit. And, this is aimed at you women of the southern kingdom of Israel. You so-called black, African-American, Haitian, West Indian women. As the header reads, Judah's women denounced. Moreover, Yahweh said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walked with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go and making a tinkling with their feet. Our women out here, especially you so-called black women, being the proudest things on the earth while also being the least desired, women on the face of the earth. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah is about to bring that great humbling to you women. And a lot of that's going to involve what? Your men. Notice I didn't just say man, because a lot of you women out there got what? Multiple husbands out there being taken away from you and you being completely assed out here to fend for yourselves. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, you know, husbands and bridegrooms being destroyed in the wars, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. And I watched a video a brother did the other day where it was a so-called black woman, a Judite woman, and she was dating, I assume it was a Northern Kingdom man, and he got a letter in the mail telling him to go to his nearest, I guess, immigration office, and his woman and his mother told him not to go, but Jake being simple, he went there and ICE rounded him up and, kept them from seeing him. They couldn't get in contact with him on the phone, et cetera, et cetera. And that woman, for like 5 to 10 minutes of that video, was crying and mourning because she didn't, have her man anymore. And that is just an appetizer for what's to come, to you women out here. And also, let's not forget the men. That Jake in that video said, with America planning on going to war against Iran, which they will, the U.S. might institute a draft, but, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Well, hey, just like these other countries, America will institute a draft, and a lot of you Israelites are going to get sent to the front lines. As we read in 2nd Esdras 16, as we just read in Isaiah chapter 3, many men will be destroyed in the wars, especially those of the U.S. military. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, the North American army, the U.S. military, all branches, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, the so-called Middle East, really Western Asia, with the main staging ground, for the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the main part of World War III, which is what all this is leading up to, being Saudi Arabia, with his face toward the East Sea. And when you look at a map of the Middle East, to the east of Saudi Arabia, you have the Persian Gulf, and above that, Iran. And to the northeast, you have the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Iraq, which the U.S. has a military presence in Iraq, and the U.S. has a heavy military presence in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia has always been the launching point for every major U.S. war in the Middle East. With his face toward the East Sea and his hinder part or behind him toward the utmost sea, the Red Sea, which, the U.S. Navy has been having exchanges with the Houthi rebels of Yemen in the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. That great slaughter of U.S. military personnel in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, in Western Asia, along with all these other heathens as militaries, which are going to be gathered down there for, again, the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the main part of World War III, which I'll close it out in Joel chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 9, because, you're hearing about China's war with Taiwan, Russia's war with Ukraine, these NATO nations fearing Russia's going to have a larger war in Europe, et cetera, et cetera. The wars and the rumors of wars, which, we could very well see conflicts like that break out. But know this for certain, that World War III will end, and its main battle will be in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the heathen Gentiles. Prepare war, that third woe. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong, such as Iran's recent threats against the U.S. saying, look, hey, if you attack our nuclear sites or our country, hey, we got these missiles ready in retaliation. No U.S. bases in the region will be safe. And then, they had that recent video where they were touring that underground bunker, which went on for, it looked like a mile, showing all the different munitions they had. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. The U.S., the state of Israel, the NATO nations, Russia, China, Iran, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh, those death angels holding back this great destruction, waiting to get the go-ahead to release it, which is mainly going to happen after the mark of the BEAST, that micro C-hip implant in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, is mandatorily implemented. And when you read in Revelation 16, it also says what? Those angels are drying up the great river Euphrates in the Western Asia to allow these nations as militaries to more maneuver down into it. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh's Shaphat, or Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And when you go to the first couple of verses of this chapter, you'll see why. Because you heathens came against the children of Israel, chiefly you Edomites, as pursuant to Psalms 83. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. And with that clip we just watched on Instagram, hey, we can see this day is getting closer and closer. And these rumors of wars are going to become straight up hot wars. But that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.